What's up, everybody? This is Dominic D'Angelo, and it is Rumor Innuendo of adfreeshows.com. I'm here, per usual, with Robert Karplis, WD Creative _ish, and we have a special guest here today. It's Mr. Nic Nemeth. We have TNA Genesis coming up here on Sunday, January 19th, and Nick will be defending his World Heavyweight title against Joe Hendry. Nick, thanks for joining us, man.
Yeah, happy to be here, man. It's a big weekend for TNA, kicking off 2025, and I have this beautiful honor of trying to outdo all the other shows, all the other things that we've done for the last 6-10 months, a year, and then I got to outdo every other match on the card, and I couldn't be happier and more excited for it.
We'll talk about your year here, or over a year with being with TNA and stuff, and acclimating, and this whole new transition going on when it comes to the WWE and TNA deal too happening. It's a big time for TNA, and you're obviously at the forefront of it.
Yeah, I'm very fortunate to be a link, I hope, of the 20 different pieces that are all moving together for this for the last year or so with TNA. I've been a part of it, but also you got Joe Hendry, you got the Hardys, Masha, Jordan, Tessa showing up. You have all these different cool, exciting components. Moose has been crushing it for years and holding down the fort. Santana, so many different pieces are all together here. But being one of them is, as we're kicking ass, being the champion and getting some credit for it. I'll take 1% of it. That's fine. But I'm here to help. But I've just been I've been blown away by the locker room. I've been really excited for this upcoming year. And then now with this announcement, we've kind of been working with WWE off and on for a little while, but now to have this official announcement, I really think it's positive for both companies because it really just opens the door for anyone showing up anywhere else at any time and having it hopefully make sense even, but also having that surprise aspect to it. So whether it's an NXT, a Royal Rumble, an Impact, Genesis on Sunday, you don't know what's going to happen. And I think that's one of the coolest parts of being a wrestling fan.
Yeah, the element of surprise for sure. Robert, yep. I know you have some follow-ups.
I think it's got to be weird because Nick and I first met 20 years ago back in WWE when I was on Creative. I always joke that I've ruined your career twice during my tenure there. The first time I met you, you were sitting on an anvil case backstage, and we were telling you were going to be Kerwin White's caddy. And the very first question you asked was, "Cool, what does a caddy wear?" And none of us thought what to figure this out. So we had to send somebody out to go buy you like khakis.
Yeah.
And it was great. And then the second time was with the Spirit Squad. This was my big moment because they pulled me aside. Like, you're going to get to put together their entrance video, their Tron, their graphics, and work with Jim Johnston, which was such a cool moment. And you guys had so much fun in the first little video that they gave us of what this was going to be. And we saw right there, like, this is a guy you can give him literally anything, and he's going to knock it out of the park.
Well, I mean, I'll take it. But especially, I'll go Kerwin White first. That's really funny, especially a guy like me who I don't wear khakis even to church. So I was like, what do we do here? What do caddies wear? And like, they just dress like a collared shirt and khakis. I'm like, okay. At least I'll cut the sleeves off. So I had that. So I cut the sleeves off because that's at least the part of that's me. But also, I'm like not a big golf guy, not a big country club guy. I'm more of a stonewashed jeans at a Poison concert guy. But still, so just like, all right, I guess I'll be a congratulations, you're a golf caddy. I'm like, okay, well, I don't know what that means, but we'll see what happens. And then I think we found a smock to hang over me to like let everyone know that I'm not one of the country club guys. I'm the guy that's carrying the bags for everybody else. And another cool part was they're like, hey, no, Kerwin has this really cool golf cart that he rides to the ring. I'm like, oh, we'll look cool in that golf cart together, won't we? And they're like, oh yeah, you actually walk behind it. Like, okay,
you're not in it.
Remember, like, you're not allowed in the cart.
No. Members only. Which I understand. I never had one of those jackets either, so I totally get that. And then Spirit Squad, that was another one. I go, all right. I always assumed you get one shot in WWE. If you get two, man, I can't wait to see what it is. Fucking cheerleaders? Oh God. Okay, great. Let's see what happens. But luckily, I had this mentality, and most people in the group also did. Was I don't know if this is it. Let's make it an 11 out of 10 and give it everything we got, even if it feels embarrassing, even if it feels we're going to commit to this bit, no matter what, because this was all of our dreams to get here. So let's try and make something happen. And we did. We committed to it. We almost did almost exactly a 12-month run. and then it was over. Boom. And it wasn't like we didn't get to use any momentum. It was over, you know?
Well, what's interesting is the Kerwin White character had an underrated theme song. It was one of the all-time themes, and I feel like in a more modern era, it would have gotten over. We've obviously seen that with Joe Hendry and how he's leveraged his theme and has become this sort of self-made guy. Given how long you've seen what this industry is, it's got to be great to see someone who can pull themselves up by their bootstraps, make their own character, and be allowed to get over. Because back then, we would put a stop to that.
Oh yeah. Or you'd let Zack Ryder have a couple segments with Cena, and then you'd throw him off the stage and make sure he was murdered or something. So yeah. So I totally understand that, because I do relate those two very much so. Like, in this world where everybody's working hard, everybody's doing extra stuff, everyone's making videos on the side, everyone's going above and beyond. You have to find a way to step above that, and then hope that organically you're viral and people are going, and then you got to put in all the work, and then you got to back it up, and then you got to hope there's no injuries, and then you got to hope a company's got your back. There's all these pieces that come together, and for Joe, he had a few of them, and the viral moments, which are some of the hardest ones. And where we get jealous, guys have been 15 years of just plugging away. We're like, I wish I had that moment for a second, but there's a double side to that. And that's what I've said to Joe behind the scenes also. Like, I don't hate you. Like, I'm rooting for you to be awesome. But when we get to Genesis on Sunday, the respect goes out the door. I'm there to kick your ass and stay champion and outmaneuver you in every aspect of this business. But until that point, it is so cool that you've gotten that viral part. You've gotten the organic people behind you, because you can force a bunch of people behind you, and it'll take 4 or 5 years for him to main event WrestleMania against Brock and Taker. Or you could have all these different pieces to where you organically comes together. And then in TNA, after organically getting these huge moments and these viral moments and like the #1 WWE moment, then he had to go back in storyline to the beginning, back to the back of the line, and work his way up. So now you don't just have a 15-minute of fame guy who's, you've seen a million of them come and a million of them go. You've had the guy with the viral moment. You know the crowd can be behind him. You know everyone's interacting with him. And now on our show over the last few months, he's grown as not just as a character, but in real life at being good at the business and being ready to take over as champion. I'm not going to let him, obviously. But I go, what a disservice I would be doing if I'm rooting for you and go, yeah, let me just go lay down because, everyone's cheering for you. I go, the best part of this is now you have to back it up with me, and I can take a punch. Check out this jaw more than anybody else, and I don't plan on losing.
Well, it's beyond just taking the punch. You during Impact, during the confrontation that you had with Joe Hendry, it was, hey, yeah, you've had the viral moments, you've had the tweets, but to be the champion day in and day out, can you actually handle that? Whereas you've proven you absolutely are able to be the man and put the title on and work that schedule. I think that added layer of intrigue is, it's great that you got to the dance.
Yeah.
Can you really carry the ball and run with it?
Absolutely. That is a real aspect of it, that one, you get to yell at Joe on TV, but it's real. Like, I go, hey man, I've been world champ before. I've been world champ when the company didn't want me to be world champ. And then not only is everybody coming after you, behind the scenes, they're making it so you can't do well. And then you find a way to have people still cheering for you. So it's tricky. I go, the knives come out, man. It's like everybody's going like, man, we're rooting for you, Joe. Hey, cool viral moment. And the second you become champion, every one of those people go, he doesn't deserve this. I should have that spot. And let me go kick his ass. And so I go, then all of your friends and people who are well-wishing you, all of a sudden, those are the guys behind the scenes going, boss, I don't think he's really got it. Let me go fight him and let me see if I can beat him. And then all of a sudden you're in trouble here. So I've told him a couple different, when I said he's grown over the last year, I've also bestowed some behind the scenes knowledge that a few people gave to me when I was younger. So I don't plan on losing. I don't think he can hang with me in the ring when it comes to class or choking somebody out, looking them in the eyes and hating their guts. But every other aspect is in place, and it's hard not to root for him when he's not fighting me.
So another young guy who's been making some viral moments is this kid JBL, who has now been a part of this story here. What is it like to see a guy like JBL embrace this notion of, I'm going to pop up, I'm going to make these moments special, and I'm going to enhance a story?
Well, I made the mistake saying JBL once. It's John Layfield, everybody.
Sure.
if you want us to not get sued or whatever the deal is. Something along those lines. Yeah, I just had to do for last night's TV, I had to do a wild line. It's John Layfield. So I also had those 3 letters burned into my brain for 15 years. So
you're doing wild lines like Tony Schimmel. I love it.
Yes, you got to get him out. I got to get him out to exercise the demons here. But no, having him bounce around, and who knows what the plan is. Maybe the plan all comes together on Sunday. Maybe he's building a team. Maybe he's turning on everyone and has some other aspect, and he just wants to go viral. Maybe he just wants to beat up Joe Henry. I don't know. Whatever happens on Sunday, he may or may not be involved. I know that he is booked on Monday. That's what everyone's been telling me online. So I know he has pieces of different shows, and he's shown up here and there. And 2 or 3 times he's even shown up in things that I was in, Mexico and all over the world. And I'm very curious. I hope we get to have this match, because without anyone being involved and outside interference, I would love to see Joe Henry and myself have a one-on-one match, and 1, to see what he's got, but 2, I don't think he can hang with me, and I feel like it would be like just wrestling circles around him and finding a way to like make him quit. So whoever, if something ends up being involved, I understand this is a wild weekend. It's going to be a big jumping off point for TNA. But I want to see what Joe's got. I'm not worried about outside interference. And if John Layfield has something to say and has anything to do with it, we have a referee out there. We have people in the back. I don't know what aspect he would play here. But when it comes down to this world title match, I'm focused. I have all aspects. I go, maybe this guy runs in, maybe this guy runs in, because I always cover my ass for everything, because I think of every possible situation. But I'm ready to fight Joe Henry, and I just don't think he's on my level.
Well, Nick, something that you've been doing over the course of this year, last time I interviewed you, you kind of started doing it, was the Busted Open show. Kind of wanted your perspective about what have you garnered from doing the show that's kind of helped you in TNA, further your career, build your brand, get your name. Like, obviously you're already an established star, but like, what has helped you kind of develop your career a little bit doing that over the course of this year too?
One is, well, they asked me if I wanted this job a year ago, and I said, and it was talking about wrestling. And I go, I famously do not watch wrestling.
Right.
I actually make it. I am very adamant about that, and it's more of a joke. But it still is like, you're calling me to comment on wrestling. I mean, I get that I have a unique perspective and I'm in the business, fighting for world titles, but I've also been doing it for 20 years. So I have some, a unique insight, I would hope. And they said, don't worry, you only got to watch some wrestling, whatever. And then slowly but surely the last year, they got me watching every show every week. So it's like you win, you badgered me into watching friggin' wrestling. But I enjoy wrestling. I don't like watching it for homework. I love wrestling and watching it anyway. So, but it's now I've gotten to a point where I'll be watching it. We're on Thursday, so a lot of times we'll be talking about Dynamite from Wednesday. And the second something happens on Dynamite that, not storyline wise, but something that I saw someone doing, I'll write down little notes. I'm jotting down notes. And then when I get ready for Thursday morning, I'm on the West Coast. It's like 5:30 in the morning. I'm waking up to go over my notes before we do our show. And I'll go through them. Like, it's really brought me just things that stood out in a positive way or negative. It has like made me focus on making sure I don't or do these things or find a way to do something different in these scenarios, because they stuck out to me. So that, and then myself and Dave LaGreca will talk about it for 3 hours and like break it down. And once in a while, I accidentally I lead myself to a way that I need to respond next time. So it's just doing more homework and having fun with it. But then accidentally, I now have this list of like 600 notes, and 3 or 4 of them apply to any given weekend to me to focus on or to stand out. It's like kind of cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So I know, wrestling is not something you're going to go out of your way to watch a lot. Something I know that you do go out of your way and watch a lot is comedy. My other podcast, Working Stiff, which was Wrestle Roast with 3 professional comedians, Mike Lawrence, Dan St. Germain, and Scott Chaplin. We were roasting wrestlers every week. If you were able to host one of those Dean Martin roasts, who's the guy that you want in that chair that you want to roast?
I think you put Broski in the chair. I think it's Matt Cardona is the guy we roast, because weirdly I'm in like 7 group chats of wrestlers, and 5 of them involve Broski being in there and being roasted on a daily basis 700 times in a row. So I feel like everybody would have like this collective, like, and he's the glue that holds a lot of wrestling people together. You know, he's got it all figured out for the independents. He's the guy on the scene. He's teaching everybody what to do, and then all of us that are his buddies get to bust his balls behind the scenes. So I would love Zack Ryder. Miz would be great, but I feel like he would secretly like have sunglasses on, but like a little tear would be coming down because he would take it. He would take it seriously, I think. Instead of like, hey, we only roast the ones we love, but in your case, well, we'll make an exception or something like that. And he would like, it would hurt his feelings. I don't know. Ryder can take it, I think. Well, he'd probably cry too, but that's a normal night for him. So it would be like it would be a really fun time. I'd like to get the band back together. Morrison, Miz, myself, a couple others, and really let Broski have it. So maybe next year at WrestleMania or something weekend, or a big Battle for Glory weekend, or we'll set something up and it'll be really funny.
That'd be great. That'd be heck yeah.
Oh, I've got the wheels turning. I would love
to be the MC. I would like to be the roast master general.
D. Martin.
Yes, I'd be honored.
Yeah.
Well, I just want to sick Mike Lawrence on you and see what happens. I think that would be the most
I am
fun.
such a fan of his. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, I was a fan of his 15 years ago, and he's a writer that was doing a couple stand-up bits here and there. But I knew him before. I hope I got this right. Before he was doing roast, but like he already had that mentality that was like really biting and funny and a kick-ass guy. So I was like, we did a show at Caroline's, and he ended up. It was one of the Mania weekends, and it was like, dude, we made a joke show 2 days before WrestleMania, and we sold it out at Caroline's in New York City. I'm like, this is the coolest day of my life. I had all these guys come in and do different pieces, and Miz go up on stage, Renee Paquette, a bunch of different people just getting moments to do stuff, and it was a blast. And then watching him do his thing, I think one time, man, was I in New York and just saw like, he was just getting up to do a few minutes somewhere, and I just went and saw him because I was a fan, and I know his writing work and all this stuff, and I'm like, wrestling fan or not, I was already a fan of his like roast kick-ass like deep cuts of being mean, which I'm a big fan of because I hate being nice. And I watched him do like 10 minutes somewhere, and I was like, dude, this is freaking awesome. Like I go out of my way to see him because I think he's really funny and smart.
Oh, it's the most pressure I had when they're like, all right, you have to write jokes and then deliver them in front of Mike every week. And I was like, that's a tall order. He I don't know if you're aware of this. He actually helped contribute to the Golden Globes opening monologue this year. Nikki Glaser.
I know all too well because my good friend Lauren Greenberg also contributes, and I saw her picture. It was like, or Nikki Glaser posted a picture with everyone behind her, and I was like, whoa, like you're in there. Like, yeah, there's Mike Lawrence. I'm like, this is great. I'm like, Gibby's in there. Like, hell yeah. Like, it's so good. Cool to see everybody. Like, still, yeah, like that's like, to me, my second dream job. And I know people doing it and they're kicking ass at it, and it's freaking awesome.
So speaking of second, sorry, Dom, did you want to ask a question? I'll just keep steamrolling over you, so which is totally fine.
No, we have something we did want to talk about though was the Bob Uecker and Norm Macdonald and everything like that. And obviously Bob Uecker's so damn funny, and pair him up with Norm Macdonald and those stories. It's a sad thing that he passed away, but it's good. Everybody's reflecting on it, and such great footage of them going on too.
My buddy and I have sent, I think it's Artie and Norm telling the Bob Uecker about getting in trouble for talking about Bob Uecker on Stern. We've sent it to each other back and forth for the last 10, 15 years, 20 times. And then yesterday it got sent to me 5 different times from people. And I was like, at least I'll be able to see this all day, which is great. But there is something extra, dude. I'm the luckiest guy in the world already. And I got to go to a Norm Macdonald set and afterwards sit backstage with him and bullshit and have him tell me, like, he's randomly riffing, he's telling stories, and it was like the coolest hour of my life ever. And I go, this guy's like a genuine hero of like being funny and being different and being this badass guy who doesn't settle for second best to anybody. And he's bullshitting with me, and it's like I have to say this one little piece because he complimented a roast joke that I did on Comedy Central that I had a roast battle with Sarah Tiana, and he complimented a joke that I did. Not said, hey, good job on the thing. Like he said like half the words and was like, oh, that was really funny. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Norm Macdonald just said I had a funny. Are you kidding me? How is this real life? And I will have that moment forever. Justin Roberts has the picture, and he reminds me every once in a while, like, hey, if you're down, remember this night? Yeah, like, yep, I got it. I will always have that. And one quick one about Bob Uecker. I'm a huge fan of his. Got to see him a couple different times, but a really funny one. I really wish I remember the details, but I was waiting. I was at TV Monday Night Raw, and I was waiting to go. A usual day of like, what the hell? I'm going to kick the door down and go tell like, Vince, I can't do this. This makes no sense. And then I was getting pissed off. And then I saw no line for his door. And I go, and no one answered. And I say busted open, but I like opened it. Like, I'm like angry.
Yeah.
And I open it, and it's no Vince, but it's Bob Uecker and his family waiting to meet Vince. And they're like, hey, what's going on? And I'm like, hey, everybody. Hey, Bob, what's going on? And I don't know if it was just natural Bob Uecker because he's so damn funny and just wants to see everybody and just says something and you were already laughing before he says it. Or he saw that I had come in there angry as hell. He'd be like, hey, this is the last straw, old man, or something. And he's like, hey, oh. And he just diffused the situation by being the funniest, warmest, gentlest, coolest effing guy in the world. And it was 15 or 20 minutes. I was in there just like he was just being so kind to me and being nice and joking around. And then Vince came in and we're like, hey, Vince, hey, what's going on?
What's happening?
Totally forgot that I was like, I was about to call my dad to say that I quit. But yeah, whatever, that's fine. Like, it was like really funny. I'm already the luckiest guy in the world. And I have moments like that I'll never forget of some of my heroes of comedy. So I'm the luckiest guy.
Well, you're going to create moments you'll never forget this weekend.
I hope so, damn it. I want to
sure.
punch Joe Henry's mouth till teeth are just flying up and they just stop the fight. And you're like, remember when that was cool? Like that he had, you were all cheering for him, but then you remembered that I can kick his ass. Oh, right. Okay. Like, so the respect is going to go out the window. I hope the crowd sympathizes with, hey man, there's a reason I've been really good for 20 consecutive years. It's not because of viral moments.
Well, it's going to be fun. It's TNA Genesis. It's this Sunday, January 19th, Garland, Texas, 8 p.m. You can get it on pay-per-view. So check it out. And Nick, thanks for taking the time to join with us. It's always nice to talk to you. And you looking forward to seeing what 2025 brings you too, man.
Me too. And I couldn't be more serious. Like I've done things where like you do media and you're like, if you're not on a WrestleMania, but you're doing 18 hours of media saying how it's going to be so cool that Brock has this match against this other guy. Yeah, that's going to be like when you don't have, you're just like going through the motions. This is the opposite of that. I've volunteered a year ago when I started with TNA. I said, anything you need from me, PR, media-wise, a post, a video, you need me to fly somewhere for a week, name it. And they've taken full advantage of it everywhere we go. I'm so happy to get this out. And I'm not just saying because I want to go promote it. It's because I've been behind the scenes and I've seen what everyone can do. And I know how big of a year this is for TNA. And I'm excited to get the word out. So Sunday kicks it off. That card is going to kick ass. I'm already nervous about having to follow I'm like, oh, this Masha match. Like, oh, Rosemary. I'm like, oh, then I have the Hardys. And I got to follow this. And there's an exhibition match. And then I'm caking off the night, like the icing on the cake here. And I not just like, hey, look, we're the main event. We have to outdo this entire card. And I love that I'm in the position of like, I'm nervous to be able to pull this off because everybody's so damn good. It's going to be awesome on Sunday.
Well, awesome. Yes. Thanks for joining us, Nick. And Robert, always pleasure speaking with you too. We'll see you next time here on Rumor Innuendo.